Namaskaraha and welcome all of you to our next session on the yogic life. So today I want to talk about a very important topic: how to control the mind. Right? How to control the mind. So, uh, how to do the niyantran of the mind is the topic for today. So we know in this world there are a lot of theoreticians, the pundits who will tell you that you have to control your mind, and they will give you theoretical knowledge as to you have to control your mind, but they will not tell you what is the method for controlling the mind. Right? What is the method to control the mind? So practically, how do we control the mind? So we have these indriyas. We have the indriyas, the eyes, ears, nose, taste and touch, and all of these indriyas. And these indriyas are all outward looking, right? They're always running after the vishayas, right? The eyes always want to see something. The tongue want to taste different foods. It want to go here and there to restaurants and taste food. And then ears want to hear different things, right? Want to hear something or the other. And and also the touch, we want something soft and nice, and touch, we're so particular about the touch as well. And when we look at overall as the mind, and mind is constantly getting attached with these indriyas and running after the vishayas. So the most important question is, how do we control these indriyas, and how do we control the mind? How do we control the body? How do we control the our speech? All of this, how do we do that? Right? The pundits will not have an answer to this question. They might give you theoretically some things, but that will not be a practical approach. How do we implement it? Right? So whatever theoretically you're learning, it is just an avabhasa of jnana. It seems like just a pure jnana and no use of that. Right? But the answer to this question, right, how do we control the mind and control all these indriyas? The answer to that question is with a bhakta. So a bhakta will tell you how to control these indriyas, how to control the mind, right? So what is the answer to that question? How do we control all these indriyas, the mind? How do we do the niyantran of this? Is ananya mamata vishnur mamata prema sangata. Right? Ananya mamata vishnur mamata prema sangata. So that is what a bhakta's reply is. So the love towards Paramapurusha is the medicine, right? Love towards Paramapurusha is the medicine for getting control over all these indriyas, getting controlling the mind, the body, speech, everything, right? So a jada jnani, he doesn't have any love for Paramapurusha. His heart is very dry, right? So when you have this ananya mamata, right, ananya mamata towards Vishnu, towards Paramapurusha, then everything is possible. Everything is possible. So the indriyas are always with a vishaya, right? That is how they are designed. So you cannot say that I will not have a vishaya for the indriya, I will not have a vishaya for the mind. I cannot say that, because the mind is always sarvishayakam, the indriyas are always sarvishayakam. I have the eyes, and I cannot say I'm going to keep my eyes closed all the time, I'm not going to see things. So I'm actually always going to be seeing things. So how do we control, right? And my eyes are going to be seeing. So if I remove my eyes from one thing, then it is getting stuck with another item, right? There is another object. If I'm seeing a book and I say I don't want to see the book, then I'm actually turning my eyes away, I'm seeing something else, right? So there is always a vishaya for the eyes, because the eyes have the darshan shakti, it has the capacity to see, so it is always going to see something. So even if you actually, we say, okay, I don't want to see anything outside, I'm going to close my eyes. Even if you close your eyes, you might be seeing internally, you might be seeing something. There is actually a very interesting story in this regard, right? So there is one person who is going on a pilgrimage, right? So in his house, there is this creeper of this pumpkin plant, right? This creeper has nicely grown. It is beautifully grown, and this person knows that it is the pumpkin, the vegetable is going to come in just 2 or 3 days. He knows that, right? It's showing all the signs. So then he needs to go on the pilgrimage, right? He needs to go on the pilgrimage, and he has this worry now. What if there is a cow that comes and eats this pumpkin, right? What will happen is this pumpkin will go away, right? I raised this plant, this creeper, with so much of love, and now I know that it's going to give me the vegetable, and now I'm not in town and I'm going to the pilgrimage, and what if the cow eats this vegetable? Oh, it'll become very, very difficult. It'll become very difficult. So then he says, then with that thought in mind, he goes to the train station, gets into the train, and even in the train, when he's sitting in the train, is in his mind, it is like, oh, this creeper of pumpkin, the pumpkin plant. That is what is in his mind. The pumpkin creeper, right? That is what is in his mind. So then he goes to the pilgrimage and he reaches there, and he has to sit down for meditation for Paramapurusha. He's sitting down for meditation, and what is there? He has closed his eyes. There is no object for him. Outside there is no object because he has closed his eyes. There is no Vishaya. But internally his mind is always thinking, oh, my plant, my creeper, what will happen to my creeper, my pumpkin plant? So outside he is not seeing the pumpkin plant, right? But internally through his mind, Manasik Ank, through this internal eyes, he is constantly seeing this pumpkin plant. So even though he is externally not seeing it, but internally he is seeing. So even if you remove your eyes from an external object, internally your mind might be seeing certain things, right? So in his pilgrimage, his purpose of the pilgrimage was to be in association with Paramapurusha. That is what he went for the pilgrimage. But what happens is that he is not able to sit in dhyana, he is not able to do meditation because his mind is constantly running after that plant, right? So what is the solution for this, right? Even if your eyes are closed, internally you're going to see something. If your eyes are open, you're going to see something externally. So what is the solution for this? How do we do the niyantran of the eyes, right? So we have to do the Brahma Bhavana. We have to do the Adhyarop. We have to superimpose the Brahma Bhavana, right? What is the solution to this? Ananya Mamata Vishnur Mamata Prema Sangata. So if we do the superimposition of our love towards Vishnu on this pumpkin plant, then what happens? What remains in the mind is just Vishnu, right? This is the practical approach. You have to give the mind another Vishaya, and what that Vishaya is the love for Paramapurusha, right? So whenever this thought of the pumpkin plant arises in your mind, just before that you have to superimpose the love for Paramapurusha, superimpose the thought of Vishnu, right? So you have to think that, oh, this pumpkin plant is a srishti of Paramapurusha, right? So then when you think like that, automatically you start thinking about Paramapurusha, then automatically the mind and the eyes and everything, they're thinking about Paramapurusha. So automatically whenever you're thinking about some external object, superimpose that with the thought of Vishnu, right? You have the thought of this Paramapurusha, you have the bhava of Paramapurusha. When you keep the bhava of Paramapurusha in front of you, then the eyes will automatically get controlled. The niyantrana of the eyes automatically happens, right? So the solution that we talked about is we have to do the Adhyarop, we have to do the superimposition of Brahma Bhavana. And one more thing is that, human beings, how our swabhava, how is our swabhava? We always like to hear our own prashamsa, right? We like to hear somebody praising us all the time, right? So most of the time that is what we want, right? Even though we may tell them that, we may also think in our mind, oh, if somebody praise me, then I'm going to tell like this. What I'm going to tell, right? I'm going to tell that, oh, I'm an ordinary person, oh, why are you praising me? I didn't do anything great. And then you'll say, oh, thank you, right? And then you'll say, oh, no mention please, or whatever. We'll be ready to say that, right? So that is what is the human tendency. We always want to hear our own prasamsa, right? We want to hear our praise, right? If somebody doesn't praise us, then we become very sad. We become very sad. So right, like for instance, sometimes we may take a lot of effort or go out of the way to help somebody, right? And genuinely you might have gone through a lot of struggles, but then deep in your heart you expect the other person to be very grateful to you and tell you, oh, thank you, you did a great job, right? Then and then at that time and then the other person should tell you, oh, you took a lot of difficulty to help us, right? You should tell that. And when that person tells you, then you'll say, no, don't, nothing like that, it's not a big deal, like you'll say something like that. It was not such a big deal. But if the other person to whom you helped and took a lot of difficulty, that person doesn't thank you, or doesn't say that you have taken a lot of trouble, then you will be like so upset. You'll be like, oh my god, he's not showing gratitude, he's an ungrateful fellow. You will have all these kinds of thoughts, right? So the question over here is that you are always wanting to hear your own prasamsa. So the ears, how do we control the ears? How do we do the niyantran of the ears? The ears always want to hear atma prasamsa, right? Want to hear the self praise, right? So it is very difficult. So we need to give such a kind of training to the ears, right, in such a way that these ears should always be restless to hear about Paramapurusha. It should be restless to hear about Harikatha, right? We need to train our ears in such a way. This is the practical training, that we need to train the ears in Abhyasa in such a way that these ears should be desperate to hear about Harikatha, right? So when this desperation for Harikatha arises, then automatically Atma Prasamsa you will not like. You will not like the Atma Prasamsa, because your ear is always wanting to hear about Harihi. So then this Atma Prasamsa, if somebody is doing your praise, then you don't really care about it. Your ears always want to hear about Paramapurusha. That is the way that you can do the niyantran of the ears. Just because you're saying that I want to control my ears, it's not going to happen. How are you going to control the ears? By giving it a different Vishaya. You give it a different Vishaya, and the solution or the medicine for controlling the ears is that love for that Paramapurusha, right? So what happens is that when a sadhaka, he is doing sadhana regularly, right? So then what happens is that his mind becomes very sukshma, and also the indriyas get a sukshma vritti. So the indriyas start experiencing sukshma things. Like for instance, the indriyas get a sukshma bhava. It becomes very, very subtle. So then this person who is a sadhaka, who's been doing sadhana regularly, if he goes somewhere into a lonely place and he does the sadhana, then he will be experiencing this smell, which is a very, very nice smell. Automatically he will experience, because his indriyas have all become very sukshma, right? So till that sugandha doesn't come to your nose, till the time what happens is that your nose is always going after different things. So if your nose smells coffee, then automatically you'll say, 1 cup please, can I have 1 cup please, right? If your nose is smelling some particular food, then automatically you'll say, I want 1 rasagulla, right? I want 1 jamun, or whatever it is, right? So as long as the nose is not getting that sugandha, that the sugandha from doing sadhana by making the indriya sukshma, till that time the nose is always going to run after external objects, right? Whenever you smell something, you'll say, I want 1 cup of coffee. So here I want to like for instance, if there is a drunkard, right? So the drunkard, even if he's very far away from the the alcohol shop, the wine shop, even then he is always smelling this smell of alcohol, right? So this nose is always running after this external object. So what is the solution for that? Is to do more and more sadhana, when you do more and more and more sadhana, then you will get this sukshma sugandha. When you get this sukshma sugandha, then automatically your nose will not run after the external object. So here there is an interesting story, right? There was a drunkard, right? He was an extreme alcoholist, right? And he was very famous that he's a drunkard, right? He was always like drinking, and we know that drinking is not a good habit. It's very, very, because of drinking your mind becomes brushed, right? Your mind, it just affects your intellectual development. So what happens is that this person, he's a drunkard, he's always drinking, and so people wanted to help him, right? So a lot of good people actually went to him, and they said, explained to him that how drinking is a very, very bad habit, right? Don't do this, your buddhi will get brashta, right? And because of the buddhi brashta, your sarvanasha will happen. So don't drink, right? So then if that person decides not to drink, that drunkard decides not to drink, so the question is, should he stop drinking just that day, or should he say, oh, I'm going to look at the nakshatra tithi and all that, and then say, oh, after 1 year there is a good day, then I will stop drinking? No, it's not like that. So what is the way to get rid of this nasha? What is the way to get rid of this intoxication, right? So when you have this desire, right, when you have this desire that I want to get rid of this, then what should you do? You should do it right away. You should not delay. You should not say, I will do it tomorrow. If you have to learn something good, you have to do it right this minute, right? You should not say, oh, not today, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it later on, right? That kind of procrastination is not going to help you. So if you are intoxicated by something, not necessarily alcohol, but it can be by anything, you're intoxicated by that and you become aware and you're wanting to get rid of that intoxication, then you should not be looking for a muhurta. You should not be looking for a good tithi, or you should not be looking at the panchang, right? You should do it right then and there. If there is a good thing, just do it right then and there. There is no point in doing slowly. I will do today a little bit, I'll do tomorrow a little bit. No, you should do it right away, right? If a person is a smoker, if he's smoking 2 packs and he says, okay, he gets this desire that I want to get rid of the smoking habit because it's a bad habit, then there is no point in saying, oh, I'll reduce it from 2 pack to 1 pack today, and then I'll reduce it by another 1 cigarette today, and then after a month another cigarette. That's not going to work, because if he is constantly in touch with cigarette, then the desire will automatically come. It will automatically come, because he is always constantly in that. He's always smelling the cigarette, he's smoking it. So he's not going to get rid of that habit as long as he is in touch with it. So what is the solution? Just throw it completely, get rid of it, right? Don't even think about it, get rid of it, not be in touch with it, right? So this slowly I will reduce, not only for this cigarette, not only for alcohol, for anything, even for the sattvic ahar. I hear people saying, I will do it slowly. Doing slowly is not going to work, right? Because if you say, I want to get rid of the restaurant food, then you say, in a month I was eating 20 times and now I'm only going to eat 10 times, right? That is not going to work, right? Completely I take a stance that I'm not going to eat restaurant food. That is the way it is going to work. When you take such a stance, then you're not in touch with the restaurant food, your mind comes away from it, then automatically after a period, it is like, it becomes a swabhava, right? First it is discipline, then practice, then finally it becomes swabhava, right? Anushasan, abhyas, and then swabhava, right? So first is discipline, and then practice. You're practicing the disciplined life, practicing, and then it just becomes your nature. And then when it becomes your nature, then you're not going to go towards it. And there is no point in saying that I will do it slowly, or saying that I'm going to look at the stars, I'm going to look at the nakshatra, I'm going to do this and that, I'm going to look at the muhurta and all that. The best time is now. This is the best moment, because you never know whether you're going to get that moment tomorrow or not, right? We don't know what state your mind will be tomorrow. your eyes have opened today, and you need to grab the opportunity today. If your eyes are open today and tomorrow I will do it, tomorrow your eyes may become closed again, you never know, right? So that is why we should never look at the when you hear a good thing, implement it right that minute, because this is the best moment, right? So continuing on that story of that drunkard, so the drunkard decided, okay, I'm going to leave this habit, right? So every day in the morning at 7 o'clock he used to start drinking. That was his habit. He used to go out in the morning at 7 o'clock, he used to go to the wine shop, and he used to start drinking, right? So that was his habit, and now he's decided that I'm not going to drink. So then the next day morning he got up, it was 7 o'clock, and he's like, automatically his legs are going towards the alcohol shop. He's made a determination, I'm not going to drink. He goes there, left right, he goes towards the alcohol shop. He comes in front of the alcohol shop, and when he goes there, he's getting the smell of the alcohol. I automatically, generally, like when you get the smell of coffee or tea, you say 1 cup please, right? Like that, he is going towards the alcohol shop, and he is smelling alcohol, but then he has made his mind, and then he goes, left right, he goes further, he crosses the alcohol shop, and then he tells himself, oh God, I'm actually a brave person. He praises his mind. He says, okay, I'm a brave person. I've crossed the alcohol shop, and then it is already 7:15, right? It's 15 minutes past that time, right? So he's past that alcohol shop, and even then the smell is coming, right? And then he's like, still he has not gone there and taken a bottle. So then he's like, oh, he's praising himself, oh, I'm actually very, very brave today, right? I have crossed this alcohol shop. And then he goes further, and then he praises him again 3 times. I'm extraordinary today. He praises him like, I'm very, very brave today that I've crossed it, and I'm not done anything. And then he says, and then there is a weak point in his mind, and then he says, oh, I'm going to treat my mind today. My mind has been very, very brave today. It has been extraordinary. I'm going to treat my mind today. And then he says, oh, every day I used to drink only 1 bottle. Today I have been very brave. I'm going to drink 3 bottles. So he goes there and he takes 3 bottles and he starts drinking. So the conclusion over here is that it is difficult to control the tongue. It is difficult to control the tongue. And how do you control the tongue? So what is the lesson that we learn is this smell affects human beings, right? How do we escape from the smell? That escape from the smell by doing internal sadhana, the internal sadhana. So it is not going to happen by looking at the tithi or nakshatra. Whatever good work, you have to do it right now. That is one thing. And how do we get rid of this bad habit? How do we get rid of the smell, right? That is by doing internal sadhana, by having this ananya mamata towards Paramapurusha. So when you get that smell, you superimpose that smell with the love for Paramapurusha, then automatically your mind will be distracted from that external object. So there is another thing is that about this story about Ramayana, right? So after the war, Rama has actually killed Ravana, and Ravana is actually going to die. And then Rama goes to Ravana and he tells him, you're a very experienced king, right? You're a very experienced king. So from your experience, tell me something, give me some upadesha. So then Ravana says, see Rama, there are 2 things that you have to understand. One is Shubhasya Shigram. And the other one is Ashubhasya Kalaharanam. So when there is a Shubha Karma, right, when you know that this work is a good thing and you have the desire to do it, then that minute is the best time, that you have to do it immediately. Shigrati Shigram, you have to do it, right? You should not wait for tomorrow. You should not wait for Suryodaya. You should not wait for Suryastamam. You should not wait for any of that, right? So you have to, if there is a good thing that you want to do, Shubhasya Shigram, you have to do it right away. If you have to learn sadhana, you have to do it right away. You should not wait. right? You should not miss the opportunity, because you never know whether you're going to get that opportunity or not, right? And when there is a bad thing, ashubha karma, right? Ashubha karma, so then what should we do? We should keep delaying it. Kala haranam, should keep delaying it. If there is a bad thing that you have a desire to do, then what should you say? You should say, not today, I'm not going to do it today. Then in tomorrow, what should you do? I will not do it today, I will do it later on. Then you keep postponing like this. I will not do today, I will not do today, I will not do today. Then what happens? Slowly the mind will not have the desire to do that bad thing, right? Then so Ravana is telling Rama, right, in my mind, when I got the desire to kidnap Sita, then what should I have done? I should have said ashubhasya kalaharanam. I should have said, not today, not today, I will not kidnap Sita today. Okay, let me see tomorrow, and then again tomorrow. I will not do today, I will not do today, I will not do today. Like this, 3-4 days, 5-6 days, when it passes, then automatically the thought of kidnapping itself will go away. So the solution is ashubhasya kalaharanam, shubhasya shigram. Whatever is a good thing, you have to do it immediately, right? So there is no point in looking at the tithi, nakshatra and all that. Shubhasya shigram, ashubhasya kalaharanam. Okay, so your tongue, right? Your tongue, how do you control your tongue, right? So the tongue is always like vashibhuta to taste, right? It is a slave to the taste. It always wants to taste this and that, right? It's always thinking, mind is always thinking, what shall I eat today? What shall I eat today? Shall I eat this? Shall I eat that? Right? So the different objects of the world, they have different impact on the body, the mind, and the indriyas, right? We have to always analyze and do the vichara before doing any work, right? So how can so how do we eat something? What is the thought that should come to your mind when you're eating something? The thought that should come to your mind is that this vastu is a prasada of Paramapurusha, right? I am eating prasada, right? When you have this thought that I'm eating prasada, then what happens? Then you cannot take an object which is not good as a prasada. You can't take meat as a prasada, right? You can't take something which is not good as a prasada. You can't take a neech vastu as a prasada, right? So a prasada, when the one that you offer to Paramapurusha, it cannot be something, you never offer a bad thing to Paramapurusha. So therefore, anything that you put in your mouth, you should think that this is a prasada. So when you think it is a prasada, and when you're thinking that, look at this object, this is not something that I would give as a prasada, I would offer to Paramapurusha, then automatically you will not put that into your mouth. When you continuously practice this, when you superimpose this prasada bhava, then automatically the tongue will be under control, right? Just by saying that I want to control my tongue, it's not going to happen. But by doing vichara, constantly vichara, and superimposing the love for Paramapurusha, superimposing that this vastu is prasada, then automatically there will be control of the tongue, right? So what is the way for a bhakta is ananya mamata vishnur mamata prema sangata, right? Whatever vastu we come in contact, that vastu is an expression of Vishnu, right? When you get this kind of bhava, then the human beings can escape from this the mind running towards external objects, the indriyas running towards external objects. So how do we control this body? How do we control this sharira, right? What is the upaya, right? So we have to think that this sharira is a yantra of Paramapurusha, right? This sharira is a yantra of Paramapurusha. Paramapurusha yantri, right? I am just the yantra, and Paramapurusha is the yantri who is operating this yantra, right? Everything that is happening is according to his desire, according to his mission, right? According to his sankalpa, right? I am not doing anything, I am not thinking anything, I am at his disposal. Whatever he says, that is what I will do, right? When you have this kind of bhava that you are the yantra of Paramapurusha, then automatically the sharira will not go here and there, right? And then how do we control the vak? How do we control the mouth, right? How do we control the mouth? The vak is that is also an indriya, right? So how do you control this vachan? How do you control the speech, right? So if you're speaking, kuvachanam or kubhasha, you're speaking something wrong things, then what happens? Your mouth becomes apavitra, right? Your mouth is doing things that it's not supposed to do, right? You're never supposed to do. You're not supposed to curse somebody. You're not supposed to scold somebody. You're not supposed to, use bad words. You're not supposed to use, bad words, right? That is really a, absolutely wrong thing to do, right? So wherever possible, where you can bear it, just forgive them and move on. Wherever it's possible, hear it, forgive them and move on. Never speak any bad words. Never speak any words to curse somebody, right? When you speak something to curse somebody, then your mouth becomes apavitra. So how do we how do we control the mouth? We control the mouth by thinking about Paramapurusha, by speaking about Paramapurusha, right? So whatever we speak from our mouth, that should be related to Paramapurusha. So that is the mantra. Whatever is speaking, if you speak about Paramapurusha, then automatically the mouth will not be speaking kubhasha or bad words. The mouth will become very, very ashamed to speak bad words, because the mouth is always constantly speaking about Paramapurusha. So therefore the solution for controlling the mouth is controlling the speech is to think about is to speak about Paramapurusha. By speaking about the Paramapurusha, then automatically the mouth will be afraid to speak about other things, right? Afraid to curse somebody. And how do we control the mind, right? How do we do the niyantrana of the mind, right? So whatever the Jadagyani is saying, by that it's not going to happen. We might be saying 1,000 times, control the mind, control the mind, control the mind, but that's not going to control the mind. What is the practical solution? The practical solution is to withdraw your mind from all the external objects, withdraw it and channelize your mind towards Paramapurusha. That is the way, right? Mind is always sarvishaya. It's always going to have a vishaya. You can't say that, I am going to do chitta vritti nirodha. It's not possible to do completely chitta vritti nirodha. Mind cannot be without an object. It's always going to be with an object. Instead of that object being an external object, if the object of the mind is Paramapurusha, if you're channelizing all your vrittis from the external objects and channelize it or divert your mind from the external objects and channelize it towards Paramapurusha, then automatically the love for Paramapurusha increases and your mind is also automatically controlled, right? So whatever your laukika attachments, just redivert them towards Paramapurusha, right? So then the mental repression, suppression, all of that will also be not there, right? So when you have this deep love for Paramapurusha, right, then automatically all the problems will be solved. And how do we do that is, we need to have the samarpan bhav. We need to do surrender, right? Surrender, sharanagatihi, right? This body, this mind, right? Everything. I got this body, I got this mind, I got the indriyas, everything because of Paramapurusha, right? So when you surrender yourself, right, when you think that it is in my control, when you think that I can do this, right, I can do this, when you as long as you have that ego that I can do it, then that is when you're losing, your mind is becoming more and more crude, because you're having this aham bhava, ahankara. I can do it, I can get my son married, I can get my daughter married, I can buy this, I can do that, I can build a house, right? When you have this ahankara, I want to earn more money, right, I'm the greatest, kind of aham bhava, then automatically your mind becomes more and more crude, right? But that is not the solution for controlling the mind. The way to control your mind is by doing samarpan bhav, by having some complete samarpan to Paramapurusha, right? So whatever he does, whatever he thinks, that is my thought. I'm not going to have any other thought. Complete surrender, right? So whatever his desire is my desire. When you have that kind of bhava, then automatically the mind becomes controlled. And also another thing is that people in this world, right? People think that I'm a niche person. I have done a lot of papa in my life. I have done this and that, right? So nobody in this world can escape that, right? Everybody, we have taken a birth means we have done something. We have the sanskaras. That's why we have taken birth, right? So nobody can tell that I'm very good, right? Nobody can tell that. So everybody has some sanskaras. They have the papa and punya, right? So nobody should tell that I'm very niche and I'm very bad, therefore I can't surrender to Parama Purusha will not accept me. I've become kalushit, my mind has become polluted, right? I become apavitra, right? This kind of bhava you should not have, right? So what is the bhava that you should have is, hey Param Purush, hey Param Purush, whether I am good or bad, whatever it is, I am yours, right? I am yours. This flower maybe maybe with full of dirt, or it is kalushit, or it is fallen in slush, but even then this flower is yours, right? I may be bad, I may be good, I may be what, I may be done, I might have done papa or whatever it is, but still I am your putra, I am your putri, I am your son, I am your daughter, right? I am completely surrendered to you, right? You please take me, right? You please protect me, you take me, right? That kind of attitude, right? I'm yours. That kind of attitude, when you have that kind of personal relationship you have, that is possible only when you have the samarpan bhav. So when you have the samarpan bhav, then there is nothing to be afraid of. Then you're completely liberated. When you have the samarpan bhav, you're completely liberated, because you're having no expectations. You're not having an expectation that I want this, I want that. None of it. Whatever he gives, I will take it as a prasada, right? When you have that kind of complete surrender, total surrender, then absolutely there is no need to be afraid, there is no need to be ashamed, there is nothing, right? And this is every human being's janma siddha adhikar. This is the right of every human being, right? This is the right of every human being, that this Parama Purusha has created this world. I am his yantra, I am your son, I am your daughter, and I whatever you're liking is my liking. When you have this kind of love, this ananya mamata towards Parama Purusha, towards Vishnu, then automatically niyantran of the mind, niyantran of the indriyas, niyantran of the body, niyantran of the speech, everything is possible. Practically how to do it, we have learned today, and it is a matter of start implementing this Brahma Bhava on everything. When you implement this Brahma Bhava, that is the solution to all of the problems. So that is what I wanted to talk today. Any questions? Okay. So any thoughts? You want to share anything? Okay. Complete silence. Pushpalata Bhagini, understood? Are you able to hear me?
I don't have anything to add, Swamini. I mean,
okay.
Mahoday.
Okay, sure. Okay, so we were at...
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't unmute it.
Okay.
I'm answering without unmuting it. Yeah,
okay,
understood. No, nicely written down. What is it? That first one thing you said, no? How do we control your mind? Ananya Mamata, Vishnur Mamata, the last one, 3 points.
Prema Sangata. Ananya Mamata, Vishnur Mamata, Prema Sangata.
Okay, thank you. Just writing down, but I didn't write down that one.
Yeah, you should not have Anya Mamata. You should not have Mamata towards anything else. Your Mamata should be only towards Vishnu.
Ananya Mamata.
Ananya Mamata. Ananya Mamata. Vishnur Mamata, Prema Sangata. You should have deep love for Parama Purusha. That Mamakara and love for Prema for Parama Purusha. He should be like your lover. He should be that lover, right? Like how that Mirabai had the deep love for Krishna. Right? Like that, you should have the deep love for Parama Purusha. Whatever he is giving is a prasada. When you have that kind of bhava, and automatically everything becomes, everything is under control. Then you're completely relieved. Without that expectation, you're completely relieved. Your mind is not constantly going up and down, right? Because when you get something, you're happy. When you're not getting something, your mind goes down, right? So this going up and down is not there. That is what the this niyantrana of the mind. Okay, so now we should actually go back to our pravachan. How should human beings live in this world? That is what we were actually reading last week. So we said that this Paramapurusha created this Srishti. In the Srishti there are two dharas, the Sanchar Dhara and the Pratisanchar Dhara. In the Sanchar Dhara, it's a movement from the crude, from the subtle to the crude. From 12 o'clock, where Paramapurusha is there, Purushottama at the Kendra. From there, we are moving towards crudification. Slowly, the mind gets created, and then the Panchabhutas get created, and then finally, the Kshiti Tattva, which is the most crude thing, emerges at 6 o'clock, and from 6 o'clock, it's a movement of the Pratisanchar Dhara from the crude to the subtle, right? So, in this movement, the Jiva emerges, and slowly the Jiva emerges and they evolve. The mind gets developed, and you have from single-celled organisms to plants and animals, and then finally at 10 o'clock we have the human beings. So, when the influence of Prakriti is more and more, right, then the thing is very, very, then the object is very, very crude, right? And when the influence of Prakriti decreases, then the object becomes more and more subtle. So in the Pratisanchar Dhara, the influence of Prakriti slowly starts diminishing, right? Slowly starts diminishing, and then the consciousness starts getting fully reflected, right? Because the Prakriti's influence slowly diminishes. That is why at 10 o'clock, the human beings have a clearer reflection of the consciousness, and they have an opportunity of moving further, right? Moving from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, when the influence of Prakriti decreases further down and down. So if we go along with the Prakriti according to how Prakriti has designed, then we will be becoming more and more subtle. Our mind becomes more and more subtle. We'll be moving from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. But if we go against Prakriti, if we don't follow her laws and go against Prakriti, then what happens? The mind degenerates. Mind goes downwards. Instead of becoming more subtle, it becomes more and more crude. So then there is adogatihi, you go back, and then you have the karma pala, you have all of that, and then there is again, moving forward, right? So that is what is the chakra. So how do you get rid of this chakra? The Janma Marana chakra is that we work towards making increasing the reflection of consciousness, making the consciousness more and more clear, right? Enlarging the reflection of consciousness is one thing, and then following the laws of Prakriti, not going against the laws of Prakriti. If we follow the laws of Prakriti, then what happens is our mind becomes subtle. We will not be incurring the karma palas, we will not be incurring the sanskaras, and our consciousness becomes clearer, and we'll be going from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, right? So that is what the way. And what are the actions, the uttama karma, which helps us to increase the reflection of the consciousness and follow the laws of Prakriti. Uttama karma, ideal actions, are called as Vidya Maya, that is associated with Vairagya and Viveka, right? We said what Vairagya is. Vairagya is understanding the right use of a thing, right? And not getting colored by the external objects, right? Not being a slave to the external objects, not having a constant longing for the external objects. That is what is Vairagya, right? Vairagya is very important in our forward march, right? To make the mind more subtle and to increase the influence of Prakriti, right? And get a clearer reflection of the consciousness, we need to have Vairagya, right? And then the next one is the Viveka, right? The Viveka is discriminating between what is right and wrong. That is what is Viveka, right? So I need to understand what is good and what is bad. I'm able to discriminate between those two things, and that is Viveka. And Viveka and Vairagya go hand in hand. Both are essential, both are good deeds. They're called Vidya Maya, and they help us a great deal in achieving mukti, right? And then evil deeds, Avidya Maya, are those actions which actually increases the influence of Prakriti, because you're going against the laws of Prakriti, and makes it actually dims the reflection of consciousness, right? So we saw that what are the avidya maya is the shadripavaha and ashtapashas. Ashtapashas, shadripavaha, kama krodha lobha moha mada matsarya are shadripavaha, and ashtapashas are bhaya, lajja, grina, shanka, kula, sila, mana, jugupsa. These are all the ashtapashas, right? So what happens because of these shadripavaha and ashtapashas, one, it just crudifies the mind. Instead of going from subtle crude to subtle, we be going from subtle to cruder. It makes the mind more cruder, right? So whether we want to follow vidya maya or avidya maya, it is really up to us. Human beings have the choice. If we follow the vidya maya, then we'll be progressing forward. If we follow avidya maya, we'll be progressing backward. So really the choice is with us. So we saw till there. So now we'll see the next paragraph. Pushpalata Bhagini, do you want to take it?
Yes, Bhagini. Those who follow with Vidya Maya can be put into 4 categories. First, those who follow the laws of Prakriti and make an effort for the progress of unit consciousness. They are the good people. Second, those who follow the laws of Prakriti but are indifferent to making efforts for the progress of unit consciousness. Third, those who do not follow the laws of Prakriti and are indifferent to making efforts for the progress of unit consciousness. These are called the low. Fourth, those who do not follow the laws of Prakriti and also become the cause of degradation of their unit consciousness, such as this are low or lower than the lowest. So the Vidya Maya is to be followed, and those who followed Vidya Maya can be put into 4 categories. First, those people who follow the laws of Prakriti and make an effort for the progress of unit consciousness. These people are the good people. Second, those who follow the laws of Prakriti but are indifferent to making any efforts for the progress of unit consciousness. Third, those who do not follow the laws of Prakriti and are indifferent to making efforts to move towards the unit consciousness. That is, they are the low called. Now, the 4th category we can see, they do not follow the laws of Prakriti and also they do not make any progress to move towards the unit consciousness, but they also do the degradation of their unit consciousness. Such people are lower or considered to be lower than the lowest. So following Vidya Maya is the only solution to move forward. This paragraph tells about it.
Bhagini, nicely said. Yeah, that is the idea, right? So we have, as you explained, there are 4 categories, right? Those who follow the Vidya, those who follow Prakriti, laws of Prakriti, right? That means we operate according to the designs of Prakriti. Like for instance, our body is designed to take Sattvic Ahar, and if we take Tamasic Ahar, that means we are not following the laws of Prakriti. Because when you take Tamasic Ahar, your mind degrades. When your mind degrades, your mind may be doing wrong things, right? When you're doing wrong things, then automatically what happens, your mind further degenerates, and you're also incurring sanskaras. So then again, that means it's adogati, you're going downwards. So a person who follows the laws of Prakriti and also he does sadhana, right? He does sadhana. When he does sadhana, his consciousness gets clearly reflected. So that means he does both of it. That is the best category of person. They are good people. And then second one is he's following the laws of Prakriti. So like for instance, if he's eating Sattvic Ahar, but he's not doing sadhana, then that is also no use, right? He doesn't care about doing sadhana. He doesn't care about the Adhyatmic Chintan. Then that is also wrong thing. And then the third category is they do not follow the laws of Prakriti, nor they are doing sadhana, right? They are not doing either of it. They are low people who are low, right? And the 4th category is they not only follow the laws of, they do not follow the laws of Prakriti, and they do not do sadhana, and also they do such actions which degrade their consciousness, right? Such people are the lower than the lowest. They are really pashus. They are worse than animals, right? We can say they are worse than animals, right? The third category, we can say they are equivalent to animals. They are not following the laws of prakriti and not doing sadhana. They are animals. And the fourth category, they are actually worse than animals. So essentially what we are understanding from here is we have the swatantra ichha to decide whether in which category we want to be, right? If we want to be, we can be in the first category. If we don't want to be in the first category, we might choose to be in the other categories, but that is the swatantra ichha we have. So we want to use the swatantra ichha to be in the first category and not to be in the other categories, because other categories are going to lead to adogati, right? So it is important to follow the laws of prakriti. It is important to follow the sattvic ahar. It is important to do asanas. It is important to do vyayama. It is important to do all of those things. When you do all of those things, the influence of prakriti will keep reducing on you, and when you keep doing sadhana, then what happens? Your consciousness also becomes clearer, right? Both of it together will push you forward quickly from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So that is what we want, right? So when you start doing all of this, what happens is that your mind becomes more and more subtle, and your interest in adhyatmic chintan also will increase automatically, right? So we want to be the first category of people. Okay, we'll actually move forward to the next paragraph. Chandrasekhar Maurya, kindly take the next paragraph.
The purpose of the qualified supreme entity, Saguna Brahma, in creating human beings is to make them follow its course towards the subtle, so as to take them back to the supreme rank. This forms the nature, dharma, of human beings. To get back to the supreme rank, effort for the elevation of unit consciousness is necessary, and actions should also be in keeping with the laws of prakriti, so that she does not create obstacles to progress. Hence, the people of the first category, that is good people, are natural prakrita manusya, as they work according to their nature, dharma, and they alone serve the purpose for which the qualified supreme entity, Saguna Brahma, made them. So in this paragraph, they just first started talking about the first category in that 4 classification that we just saw. And in there, the whole idea, as we had seen before, of Saguna Brahma creating the human beings is just to make them follow that cycle, to go from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, to get back into Paramapurusha. And the only way that they could do that is to follow that's the dharma of the human beings, and then they have to follow that by one, following the laws of prakriti, and otherwise prakriti would create obstacles, and to constantly try to stay in the dharma, the nature of human beings, in trying to reach the Saguna Brahma. And so in the first category, which is these good, they call them the good people, just by nature that they work according to the dharma, and they alone serve the purpose for which the human beings have been created. That is, they follow the laws of prakriti, and they also constantly think about the Paramapurusha to become the Paramapurusha again, to complete the cycle.
Yeah. So yes, Maurya, nicely said. So we saw in the Srishti Chakra that human beings appear at 10 o'clock, and the purpose of the Srishti Chakra is so that the creation systematically and progressively moves back and ultimately merges with Paramapurusha at 12 o'clock, right? So there is no way to get there but via human existence. All of the living and non-living entities of this world have to ultimately at one point become human beings in order to consciously ultimately have their eyes awakened and to begin to do sadhana and to evolve their consciousness and move from imperfection to perfection, right? Move from limited to limitlessness and merge in that supreme entity. So that is the purpose of the Saguna Brahma creating human beings, right? This is all Leela of Paramapurusha. So in this Leela, so this is a Leela of Paramapurusha, so that in the Srishti Chakra the human beings move from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock and ultimately merge in Paramapurusha. So in this Leela, Prakriti also provides a help to Paramapurusha, right? So it is not like Prakriti is going against Paramapurusha, even though we say that Prakriti is very difficult to cross and all of that. That is all true. But in this Srishti Chakra, in the Pratisanchar Dhara, Prakriti is actually helping us, right? She's saying you just follow these laws and I will be helping you and you can move forward. But if we do not follow the laws, then only we rub Prakriti on the wrong side, right? So the purpose of this this creation is so that human beings move from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and that is a conscious movement. The movement from 12 to 6 o'clock and 6 to 10 o'clock by all living and non-living entities is not by their own conscious design, but by the movement of Prakriti, by the instigation of Prakriti, by the design of Prakriti, right? So at 10 o'clock when human beings come, they have a free will, right? So they have a choice whether they can follow their dharma or not, right? They can behave, they have two dharmas within them, the Pashu dharma and the Manava dharma. So they can opt to follow the animal dharma, which is like a known dharma, jnata margaha, or they can follow the Manava dharma, which is a new path, right? It is a new path because it's a path that they have not used until now, right? It is not a path that they have walked before, or it's not a familiar path. They have not moved along that path before. So it is actually always easier to move along the known path, right, than the unknown path. The Manava dharma is unknown path, the Pashu dharma is a known path. And what do people choose? People generally choose the known path, which is the Pashu dharma. So in doing so, when following the Pashu dharma, Prakriti does not want human beings to follow the Pashu dharma. Paramapurusha did not create us at 10 o'clock to follow the Pashu dharma. Prakriti does not want us to follow that Pashu dharma. So in doing so, when majority people do that by not following the laws of Prakriti for which we are designed, right? So even though the Pashu dharma is the familiar path, known path, but it is not what we are designed to do. And so when they do that, when they follow the Pashu dharma, they are moving against Prakriti, right? They are the karta of their own actions, right? And they have to experience the results of those actions. And at the time of death, they have collected all these actions which they have done and for which they have not gotten the reactions yet. And because of that, they have to take birth again. And most of the time, they have degenerated themselves. So they do not get a rebirth as a human being. So they don't fulfill the purpose ultimately of the purpose for which we have all been created, right? So right, so the purpose of this core of this the purpose of creating us, right, so that we move from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, right? But moving via 6 o'clock back to 10 o'clock and then up to 12 o'clock doesn't mean that we are not moving doing according to purpose, but we are taking a little bit of zigzag route, right? So ultimately we can say that this is a part of the design, but for the purpose of understanding, right, so we have to move from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. That is the ultimate goal. And if we don't do that, right, we are degenerating ourselves and we are going in the wrong direction, right? From 10 o'clock we are going back to 6 o'clock, we may be going back to 7 o'clock, we may be going back to 8 o'clock. We go there and then again we have to move forward and then again, right? So it all takes a lot of years, right? Even when we move from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, to get that human body, right, to get the right kind of body wherein the sanskaras can be expressed, it may take millions of years. We never know until to get the right body where all your samskaras can be expressed. So we may say that, what is the big deal? I'll go back to 7 o'clock and then come back to 8 o'clock and then I'll come back to 10 o'clock and then I'll come, right? What is the big deal? The big deal is that you have to go through the struggle again. And also you never know that you're going to get the human body. When you're going to get the human body, you might be hanging with your mind and your samskaras for millions of years. You never know, right? Prakriti has to find the right kind of body so that your samskaras all can get expressed, right? So that may take, we never know how many years it's going to take, right? So considering all of that, it is only wise to follow the manava dharma and not follow the familiar path of the pashu dharma. Okay, so the next paragraph, Pushpalata Bhagini.
Animals also follow Prakriti, but due to the absence of clear reflection of consciousness, they are not able to make any effort for the elevation of their consciousness. Persons of the second category, who only follow the laws of Prakriti, are in no way different from animals. They make no use of a fully reflected consciousness in them. They are hence be called nothing better than beasts in the guise of humans. So we see that the animals also follow the laws of Prakriti. I mean, they go in their way they are designed to be, but they don't have a clear reflection. Because of that absence, they don't have a clear reflection of consciousness, and they are not able to make any effort to move to make the elevation of their consciousness. So persons of second category who follow the laws of Prakriti but are indifferent towards the elevation of the unit consciousness are no way different from the animals. They make no use of a fully reflected consciousness in them. They can be called only as animals, and they are nothing better than beasts in the guise of human beings. The persons belong to the second category.
Nicely said, Bhagini. Yeah. Nicely said. So in the previous paragraph where we saw the 4 categories of people, the second category is that those who are following the laws of Prakriti but do not exercise free will in improving their consciousness, right? So the second category of people are no better than animals, because animals also follow the Prakriti, follow the design of Prakriti, and but they do not have the free will, right? Animals do not have the free will, so they don't exercise their free will to elevate their consciousness. But the human beings who are in the second category, they also follow the laws of Prakriti, and they behave no different than the animals, right? But the thing is that they have the free will. They could exercise the free will in improving themselves, but they chose not to follow it for one reason or the another, and because of that they behave more like an animal dharma. They follow the pashu dharma rather than the manava dharma. So because of this, they've not used the fully reflected unit consciousness in them. So in a way they are no better than beasts who actually do not have free will and cannot really exercise any free will to improve their consciousness, right? So animals, they have to follow the pashu dharma, but human beings in second category also follow the pashu dharma. Only they also follow pashu dharma even though they have the free will. They actually chose not to use the free will, right? They chose not to improve themselves. They chose not to move towards mukti or moksha, right? So that is what this paragraph is talking about. Okay, we'll just take the next paragraph. Okay, Mahodaya, Chandrasekhar Mahodaya.
Right. Those in the third and fourth categories are really lower than the beasts. Beasts follow the laws of Prakriti and do not make any effort for the elevation of the unit consciousness, as it's not clearly reflected in them. Being dependent entirely on Prakriti for all their actions, animals with the passage of time develop a clearly reflected unit consciousness, while the low and the lowest people in the third and fourth categories make no use of the fully reflected unit consciousness in themselves and work against the laws of Prakriti. The lowest not only work against the laws of Prakriti, but also bring about further degeneration in the reflection of the unit consciousness through their actions. These two are not only beasts in human form, but even meaner than the beast. So in here, just further, clarifies the third and the fourth categories, and there we already, the second category itself, we lowered the humans to the level of beasts, and this one just lowers them even further from the level of beasts, where they can't, at least the beast can work on work on fully developing the clearly reflected unit consciousness, whereas these one below in third and fourth categories just don't follow the laws of Prakriti and don't care for the raising the level of unit consciousness. And the one in the fourth category not even works, and not only just doesn't follow any of that, but also works to contributes to the degeneration of in the reflection of the unit consciousness. So they just make it worse, and that's the classification or clarification on the third and the fourth category of people. And so in there it concludes that those in the third and fourth category are a human form, but even worse than beasts and even meaner than beasts.
Yes, Maurya, nicely said. So just to summarize the second, third and fourth categories, all of the categories. So in the second category we said that they're no different from animals because they're following the laws of Prakriti, but they do not make an effort to elevate their consciousness. And the same happens with animals, but it's actually not like that, right? The situation is not completely analogous, because whereas the animals have no capacity to do so, right? They have no capacity to do sadhana, they have no capacity to make their consciousness clearer, but human beings have the capacity to elevate their consciousness, but they do not do so. So even though they have the capacity, they don't do so. So that makes them actually worse than animals, because animals are doing according to their capacity, and human beings who are in the second category are not doing according to their capacity. They may be behaving as animals do, but they have a capacity to do more than that, but they're not doing that. So in that itself actually makes them not only that they are not better than animals in human form, but we say they are animals in human form, because it is an injustice to the animals. The animals of the world are quite they're dignified creatures who behave according to their capacity, and human beings having the capacity to do something more, but they're not doing so, right? So because of that, they're actually they're not equivalent to animals, they're worse than animals. So like for instance, in the second category, a good example is that pure vegetarian vegans, they are pure vegetarians, and they may be getting proper sleep and following the laws of Prakriti, but they are animals in the human form, and not only animals in human form, but they are not as good as animals, because animals are acting according to their capacity, right? So it's not just enough to become vegetarian, right? Otherwise, following the laws of Prakriti may be getting exercise, maybe sleeping properly, you may not be eating animals. All those things that you're supposed to do is natural, right? So but you're also the actor of your actions, right? So you're going to have to be creating reactions for those actions. So those in the second and third category and the fourth category are certainly doing the same, those in the third category, right? Like the third category also, they're not following the laws of Prakriti, and they're not doing anything to elevate their consciousness, right? So the fourth category is they're not following the laws of Prakriti, and also they're degenerating their consciousness. So they are actually worse than beasts, right? Like, you know, you have these gundas and mafia members, right? They do all sorts of things, hurting other people, right? So by doing all that, the terrorists of the world, right? So they're actually crudifying their mind so much, right? So essentially the people in second, third, fourth, all of them are degenerating themselves, and they will not be getting human body in the next life, right? Some small number in the second category may be getting a human body, right? But for the most part, you can say virtually everybody in the second category and the third and fourth category will not be reborn as human beings. The people in the first category will either get mukti or moksha, or will at least be born as human beings, right? Depending on how sincerely they do sadhana, right? All those in the first category can get mukti or moksha, or can be reborn as human beings. Those in the second, third, fourth category will not be reborn as human beings. They are degenerating themselves, right? So the mind never remains the same. Every moment the mind is either going up or down. So all those in the second, third and fourth categories are essentially degenerating their mind, and those in the first category are making progress from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, right? And some distance is actually covered between 10 and 12, even if it's not all the way, right? So so from that perspective, they can either get mukti or moksha depending on how sincere they are, or they may be reborn as human beings, right? But the second, third category, most likely they will not be reborn as human beings. The third and fourth category definitely not as human beings. Second category, maybe some may be reborn as human beings, but others will be reborn as not as human beings. So this is the basic rule, that those in the first category, that is those who are following the laws of Prakriti and also doing sadhana to clearly reflect consciousness, they are in the first category. They have the opportunity of getting mukti or moksha, moving from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Second, third, fourth categories, most likely they will be reborn. They have rebirth. They have two things which is definite. One is rebirth. Second is not rebirth as a human being. That is what it is for the most part. Okay. So any questions or thoughts here?
Yeah.
Okay. So shall we conclude the session over here?
भगिनी धन्यवादः.
Okay, thank you.
धन्यवादः.
Thank you so much. धन्यवादः. नमस्कारः.
नमस्कारः.